All right, welcome to the Max Effort Kitchen podcast. This is the athlete and the chef episode. My name is Matt. This is Cornell over here. We got a handful of new people, probably on paper. We got a handful of new people that could be watching this show, Cornell. So I thought I would just kind of explain a little bit of that. We talk about food, we talk about weightlifting. Sometimes we go outside the world of weightlifting. Very little I don't know what outside of the world of food literally looks like. So, but yeah, Cornell, how you doing, man? It's been a hot second.
I'm doing good. I am in the recovery mode. I think I don't remember if I talked about it 2 weeks ago, but I can't have kids anymore. So officially as of Friday.
Officially, there's so many names. You get neutered. I mean,
actually, they say I'm still shooting hot. I'm not shooting blanks for another 2 to 3 months. So I could have a kid. The plan is not to.
The plan is not to. That's always the good plan. Well, I think congratulations is in order for that, right? I mean, it's a time of life where you're like, cool, I don't ever have to like worry about this again. But Alana got her tubes tied probably 10 years ago. And so I've been lucky enough to not have to worry about that. So congratulations, a little bit of welcome to the club, and good things are to come.
I feel like what she said. You saying welcome to the club is kind of like an honorary like degree you have.
Yeah. Yes.
Like you didn't really do anything, but you have the benefits.
I get the benefits. Yeah, I did not do anything. We've talked about it, and I'm like, do you want me? And she's like, there's no reason to. And I'm like, okay. I don't know. It's not that I wouldn't do it, but yes, it is a very much I did not go to school, but got the honorary degree.
Yeah.
So it's not really a club I'm part of. I'm just high-fiving you guys from the outside. Yeah. There you go. So busy weekend last weekend for both of us. I figured we would start with you. From everything I saw and everything that I heard and talked about and all that, you did great. You did better than expected. And why don't you, recap the competition you did and go from there?
Yeah, it went good. It wasn't that I didn't do as good as expected, but it was kind of what I try to look at it as this is the minimum I should be able to hit in competition, but it has been a kind of wild road the last 6 months, and it'll be an even wilder road the next 9 to 12 months. So
yeah,
just gonna try to maintain. I went into it opening quite a bit lighter than normal, but I have also, like I said, training's been a lot different. I feel stronger, but at the same time not able to lift as much weight. When I say stronger, I don't remember if we talked about this on the show 2 weeks ago or not, but I realistically haven't been able to train with a belt other than squats over 210 kilos in a few months. Like every time I put it on, it just kind of everything goes bad. So then I just decided I was gonna trust that that's how it was supposed to be, and I did bring it, just safety blanket, but
yeah.
I never put it on. I didn't even unhook it from my backpack. I had no temptation to bring it, and I didn't need it. I mean, I didn't make my third lift, but it wasn't a belt thing. So
that's interesting. I like that you talk about that because, lifting with the belt, I think a lot of people wear it. We've talked about this many times. We probably don't need to go down this too deep, but a lot of people wear it more than they need to, as exactly what you just said was a safety note or a safety net, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But I got this from you, when I met you and you started, talking about the belt thing and whatever, I really learned from you, like to kind of not to push the limit, but kind of to push the limit to the point where it was like, how far could I go until I need it? And you're, something you talk about a lot, which is it's like make your first marker like that 80% mark, you know? And so that, and I was like, okay, well, I'll keep it at 80%. And then like, next thing you know, I'm at 85% and I still don't have it on. There's a weird, for me, there's a weird pride that goes with it. I feel stronger when I'm just like you just said, I feel stronger when I'm not wearing that thing.
Yeah, I feel like I'm stronger, meaning outside of weightlifting, I feel better. I don't feel like I'm putting this belt on to like, oh, once I get to the certain number, I have to put it on, and then I
Yeah.
push myself further than what realistically I'm capable of. So I need this, like, I'm just going to call it like an enhancement. Like that's what
Yeah.
it should be. Is it should be something that you put on so that you can lift more than you can lift.
Correct.
It's kind of like powerlifting knee wraps. They help you stand up weights that you can't lift without them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is it not a PR? I consider it a PR still, but
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where I've felt better just in life. I'm not having as much like you put a belt on and then what you're doing is you're saying my back is not strong enough to handle this. And then
Right.
let's say you make a lift and you get a little nervous and you catch it wrong, but the belt's on and you're able to still like technically make the lift. But you didn't have to be in the perfect position because the belt was going to like hold you there. And then you tweak something, you strain something like it's allowing you to go further than what we'll call, I know it's not, this isn't what your natural, your natty body is available or able to do.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. Yeah.
And I just kind of feel that I'm at a point in my lifting career, if we'll call it that. I don't like calling it that, but my
Yeah,
lifting
right.
life
Yeah.
where I don't need to push that incredibly taxing number anymore.
Yeah.
I want to be healthy and I want to be happy. And if I tweak my back and I can't be healthy, I'm not happy outside of lifting. So
Right, right. Well, yeah, it's like I said, it's a tool of the trade. A belt is a tool of the trade.
Mhm.
It's just I look at it the same way. Maybe not the exact same, but we can draw a line of correlation to the idea of in the kitchen. If I have a shun, which is a type of knife, or if I have a Cuisinart type of knife. Obviously two different grades, but it's still a knife. And if it's sharp, I can still do what I need to do.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So it's like, the belt it is like you said, it's an enhancement. So I think that's a fun conversation. But tell us how you did in the meet.
Ended up, I don't believe I had any misses in the warm up area, which is always very nice. Ended up opening at 34 and then jumped to 40 and then missed 46. Then clean jerks, I opened at 56 because I needed, they weren't going to hold me to it, but I feel like I like to follow the rules. If
Mhm.
I came in with a 310 entry, that was like the dream number to hit. 300 was the number I was like, that's, if I can hit 300 or more, I'm content. Like I was happy. I would be happy with the meet. But I had to open at 290. So 134, 156 is 290. Jump from there to 60. And then from there went to 65. When I caught the 65, it landed on my shoulders and I didn't chalk up enough on my shoulders and it slipped about an inch down. I still had the bar on my shoulders, but my heels felt like they were 3 or 4 inches off the ground. And I just kind of I had a conversation in my head that was all about a half of a second, but in my brain, it was 5 minutes and it was, you can stand this up, but you're not going to make the jerk. So let's just bail it.
Just dump it. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I could have, if it was how much can you clean, I could have gotten it back into the right position to stand it up. But I know that
Right.
there was no way I would have made the jerk. So
Right. Right. I mean, at a certain point, let's say you're 43 years old.
just
Yeah.
about, yeah.
Just about
Close enough.
43. Close enough. Yeah. And you're going 300, 300 plus, 300 total at
I
least.
know 300 total. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care what anybody says. Bail on that clean. You know
Sure.
what I mean? You have proven it time and time again that this is something you can do, and you can do it very well. So at a meet like that, you know, I'm guessing that if it was something bigger, a national meant more, you would have made it happen. Not
Yeah.
to say that that
I,
meet wasn't bad or was bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I needed, it's 1 kilo more than I totaled when I won Worlds, so there's that. I'm
Oh, that's
also
cool.
2 years older than when I did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's 1 kilo more than I snatched for my national record. I mean,
Nice.
I can't be complaining about any of that kind of stuff. Overall, it was still a fun, good meet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just a good one for me just to know I can still hit those numbers, and then just to also be like, all right, it's like I'm still having fun, I'm still enjoying it. It was a total blast. It was one of the things I really did like what they did is they assigned platforms, and they did a very good job at like picking who was going to be on each other's platforms.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
like for me, the guy, he actually got third, Sinclair. uh, the guy who got third, he was completely done lifting before I even touched the bar.
Okay.
So it wasn't like there was this effect of they chose somebody who they knew would be done lifting before I needed to start, and then there was other people who were just kind of in the mix where they could go back and forth, and then they kind of even pick certain people that there was two people on one team, so they put them together because it's easy for them to lift together and those kinds of things. So yeah, Stephanie and Ryan were talking to the owner at RepMax and just asking questions about that. And I think that's what they want to do next time, because then it's not that awkward walking around from platform to platform, seeing how many people are on it and all that kind of stuff.
Dude, I really like that. I mean, that's one of the, and it's stupid to say this, but, or it may sound stupid, but like one of the more nerve-wracking things for me entering a competition is like, oh, I gotta find a platform. I gotta find a platform. I like get in there and get a platform,
Yeah.
and like, I don't really care what the platform is. I just want a platform. I don't want to be that guy walking around being like, hey, can I be the third guy on this platform?
Yeah.
So I like that. That's a really, it's a fantastic idea. It just helps the meet run smoother, and kudos to them for doing that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's see. Excellent job on the competition, man. That's it's anytime that I hear or even see, my friends and doing meets, I always like get that. You get that like bug. You're like, oh gosh, man, I should really be lifting. And it didn't help that I spent all weekend last weekend watching 250 people lift, and I'm just like, I just want to lift.
Yeah.
But I can't because I'm sitting here for 11 hours a day. But it was so a little bit about that. First, I want to say everybody, huge thank you. Overwhelmed with the response that I've been getting. People, I didn't think anybody was gonna watch it. To be honest with you, but I got a lot of good response in person. People have been emailing me. People have been reaching out on Facebook, on Instagram. So thank you for that. I'm my own worst critic, and to me, I think the sound sucked. But I have a lot to work out with that sound on what my envision really wanted to be, which was I wanted to try to get it to the point in where you can hear the crowd, but you can also hear me. And there was this like conflicting thing with the noise canceling that wasn't working. So I just scrapped all that. But other than that, man, it was a cool competition. It was the first time I got to watch 200 kilos lifted in person. I don't believe I've ever seen that in person, and that was fun. I was right up front with it, seeing it. It was cool to watch all ages. I mean, there were 13-year-old kids all the way up to 72-year-old men, and they were all hitting it. The last three sessions was kind of nuts, and I don't mean any harm when I say this, because the last four sessions, I'm sorry, no, three, it was all women, And the speed in which those sessions went through, like we finished almost an hour early. They were just like, wham, they were just like going through, making, and it was like, it brought a whole nother level of intensity at the end of a very long weekend, which was kind of cool. But overall, the thing was a huge success, and I really enjoyed it. And I hope I get the opportunity to do it again because it was a lot of fun. So
Yeah, I popped on and I was watching. I mean,
I know.
I was not watching. It was on, and the spectators in my car could be watching.
Yeah, totally.
But no, I thought it sounded good.
Okay.
I can understand why you might want to have people with the crowd and hear the cheering and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think I've ever listened to or seen one that I could hear both. So
Yeah.
I don't. It was probably one of those things that it would be cool, but it probably sounded better just hearing what you're saying.
Yeah, it was by far, and I've attended. I've lifted at more all of Joe Beck's meets except for this one, but 100%. And I want to give a shout out to Joe because like the detail, the setup, the venue, everything. It was the best meet he has ever put on. You know, you didn't see the tarps up. He wasn't running around all crazy. He was very level headed, putting out fires and still smiling. Even jumped on the mic for a second with me. And just overall, the whole coming together of everybody who volunteered and all that helped out with that, obviously. But one of my most memorable parts about it, and then we'll move on, but is during the setup and the breakdown, he had the entire PSU football team come in. And these guys are carrying these like probably like, I don't know, let's just say 5 stacks of plywood platforms. And you got 8 dudes around these platforms walking across this hotel, and they're dropping every obscene word that you can think of, yelling at each other, dropping them. And it was so comical and just like, but they got it done. And then they had pizza the first night, and it just, you know, a bunch of college dudes like muscling around these things. It was really cool to see. And it was just a good time. It was a really, really well put on meet. So Joe, if you're listening, great job, man. Kudos to you. And I hope the next one's better. So
yeah. The little bit that I saw, the venue looked like it was set up like a national meet. Like I've been to national meets that were not set up that nice.
It was like
it looked great.
It was a mini Masters, the way the Masters was set up with the platforms next to each other. The audience kind of split apart a little bit. It was great. Yeah, really cool. All right. So something came up in training today, Cornell, and I wanted to get your perspective on this. You know, I've been lifting for a good amount of time now to be able to talk about this, and I understand that there's going to be reasons why, but I pride myself on the consistency. I may not pride myself on the amount of weight that I'm lifting, but the consistency that I bring is something that I hold pretty high, and I hold myself to a high standard in that. And so what I was talking to Damon about this morning is like, no matter how consistent I am at the recovery, at being on the platform, doing the lifts, you know, program, whatever, like there's no consistency with the flow of my weightlifting through the year. So like I will do really, really, really good. And like, you'll see it go, like I'll be going up. And that's when I start getting all lippy and talking about, oh, I'm going to hit this by the end of the month. I should know better than that. And then next thing you know, it's like whoom, drops. And then I hurt myself. And then I'm working back up. And I get to this point where I'm like, you know, back up again, and wham, it drops because of some life event or something. You know, it's like, I just want some consistency. And like everything else I've ever done, any team sport I've ever done, even in CrossFit, it didn't matter. Like there was like this bank of like work that I could always depend on. I'm on the platform right now, and I literally want to cut my leg off because I'm so sick of like some of the pain that I'm feeling. And my energy's down, my motivation is down, and I know we're going into winter, but it doesn't usually happen this early. So I don't know, man. Like, what's your perspective on all that?
So after the meet, um, I timed a lot of things that just happened to work out. I mean, the surgery.
Yeah, yeah,
um, I would have preferred to have surgery on a Monday, but they didn't have it at the place that I went to because they have like a couple different locations around this this part of the state. Um, but I ended up going to Tennessee to go check out the property that we're going to be building on and meet with the bank and meet with the builder. And I was able to stay with Heather O'Donnell, one of our old
nice.
teammates.
Yep.
And I went to her weightlifting class, and there's only like 2 people there, so it wasn't a big day. But granted, if anyone's heard of the hurricane that hit North Carolina, East Tennessee, that it was understandably why there was nobody there.
Absolutely.
And she brought up something to me that I totally forgot about talking to her about a long time ago, because I programmed for her first Worlds.
Right.
When we were on the team together, the coach that we had he didn't know how to deal with injuries. He didn't know how to deal with stuff when people are going through problems. She was supposed to have neck surgery, and I was like, I can get you through this. We can just do this step by step. Don't do the team program. It's not going to be right. Let's work your way into this. And I said,
Yeah.
First things first, you're not going to touch anything realistically heavy for a while. It doesn't mean you can't hit it, but we're not going to do it. And this BS thing that people say where they're like, I want to be comfortable hitting these heavy numbers. I'm like, by the time we get to the heavy numbers, you're going to be doing more than you've ever imagined.
Yeah.
But she brought up something that I said, that weightlifting is kind of your sessions are going to be in thirds, like basically for the year. 1/3 of your sessions are going to be terrible. 1/3 of your sessions are going to be nothing to brag about, just normal, middle of the road, nothing good happened, nothing bad happened. And 1/3 of your sessions are going to be great. The problem is 1/3 of those sessions that are great are generally followed by really bad days.
Yeah, they are.
Or a really bad day right after that will have a very good day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even remember saying any of this stuff. And then the more she was talking about it, I'm like, oh, that was one of those things I just kind of made up in my brain, where I'm like, this is how I think it goes.
Right.
Like, it wasn't like something someone told me. But I think that's what it really is. And you could have 4 months of crap, and then 4 months of you finally got out of that sucky stuff that you were dealing with. And then you have some, like, let's say you'd have that last 4 months would be amazing, but then there's going to be Christmas and there's going to be Thanksgiving and life stuff. So even though it's not necessarily 4 months of lifting, it's 4 months out of that year. It's like 1/3 of the year. It's not necessarily like 1/3 of the sessions.
Right. Right.
And then oftentimes after kind of all that's done, you kind of slack off a little bit, or just whatever happens. And then you kind of get back into that having to build and like build back up to your what used to be easy kind of thing. So I think that's kind of where you're at, is you're in one of those little slumps where the groin injury, the quad injury, like just a bunch of that stuff. Was it 20 something out, 25 hours of being on the microphone for a weekend?
Yeah. And you make a good point. And to give my wife credit, she said that she's like, you're just dealing with a hangover. Like that's all that is. It's an emotional hangover of all the shit that you did. Prior to that, we had Matthew Konar here, and that was a good amount of stuff. And then, so you're right. Speak the knowledge, my friend.
No, but I'm a little bit in that right now as well. Like leading up to this meet, it was one of those, I didn't want to push too hard and get hurt, but I was definitely riding that line of like, let's not take that next lift. Let's not chase that number, because today it means nothing. And I had to have the mindset of, these days of training don't mean anything. It matters what happens on the platform. And I'm not normally the guy who's like, PRs don't count if they're not on the platform. You should only try to PR if you're on the platform. No, I'm the guy who I think you should PR as often as you can if it's truly there. If it's not there, don't try to find it.
Yeah.
But if it's truly there, I would much rather know that I can snatch. My best snatch is 153 kilos.
Yeah.
When I'm in competition and my coach puts 146 kilos on the bar, I'm like, all right, yeah, I've done that a whole bunch of times. If I was in that mindset of you only attempt PRs on the platform, I might have never tried that. And
Yeah.
I just think that it's better to, if it's truly there, take it, but also know there's repercussions where you're going to feel like crap for a little while. You might get hurt. Like it's always a risk, but the more consistent you are and the better you get, the better you can read your body and you'll understand what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, I like that. And I like what you're saying about is it truly there? Because we had a conversation this morning also about like, well, should we go up? And what I said was like the way I approach it is if I start questioning myself moving up to the bar, I'm not ready for it. But if I hit my lift prior to and I'm like, oh, let's go, like let's get it up there. And put that fucking weight on there before I, change my mind. But let's put it on there and let's go. I can feel it. I can feel it in the lifts. That doesn't mean they're not hard. That doesn't mean that I'm not maybe like struggling to get out of the hole for a second, but and if it's there, it's there. And if it's not, it's not. But I think it is good to give it an attempt. And on top of that, it's like, that's why we do things like, go down to San Diego and lift with you, right? That's why you do things like you go over and you would go down to Florida for that and lift with them, or you would come up here, or it's like we don't always have to do it on competition. That we have this great community of people that we're all friends with and we see at weightlifting meets. Like next time you're at a meet, hook up with one and be like, hey, I'm gonna come check your gym out. How about that? And I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm sure they're gonna be like, yeah, come on over. But that gives you a reason to get over there and lift heavy and have fun. And if you're not competing as much, like when Matthew Konar was coming here, Damon kept on telling me leading up to it, like, oh, I'm stoked for Matthew to be here because it gives me something to train for, because he was going to go heavy.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to have that crappy session when it's that big day.
Yeah,
like you want to. It's it'll make you do the extra recovery. It'll make you do the extra lower rep weights. It'll make you not take the 15 attempts at trying to get something that you're not capable of for the day.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's I like that. And I the reason why I started this conversation was just because I'm looking at it like weightlifting. It almost is like that. It's the hook of weightlifting to keep you going, because you're like, oh, you're right there. You're right there. Shit day, drop. Wait a minute. I got to get back to those numbers. And you're like, it's a cycle of like, you got me hooked. And I'm not, and this is probably a poor analogy, but it's like a drug addict. They're like, I got high. Oh, now I'm coming down. Oh, I got to go get some more of that. It's kind of there is an addictive personality that comes with weightlifters. I can say I have it because I know when I know when I want to be on that platform, and I know when I skip a day, I'm like, like I said earlier, I'm my own worst critic. And, I think that's why I like the sport a lot. So I don't know.
No, I think that one of the great parts with competition is it's able for you to set that date, and it's where you are. It gives you a time that you can set, like when you want to peak and when you want to do good. And I think that one of the good parts is like it does cost money, even if it's local. I mean, even if it's $75, it's still $75. You don't want to just waste.
Correct.
I think that for people who aren't too into competing, or maybe they're just kind of over it, like I've competed a lot. I'm not over it, but I'm also not like I need to like. I think there's 3 meets between now and the end of the year that I could do, and I'm probably not doing any of them.
Right.
But I if you can find that group of people around the country, that's more fun realistically than a competition. If it can be like a big planned out thing. Like
Yeah.
we've done camps together where it's like this is where we're going down and we're going to leave everything on the line and we don't have only 3 attempts.
Exactly.
And you just kind of know that like the next week I'm probably not going to touch a bar. The week after that I probably shouldn't have touched the bar.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, it'll be like, I haven't touched a bar in 3 weeks or 2 weeks, and I'm starting over. But I would much rather go to like some sort of a camp with a bunch of friends than I would to go to a competition.
I'm with you on that. And I really wish, I wish there were, I know there are camps. There's camps going on probably all over the United States. Maybe I'm just not seeing them or whatever, but I wish they were more publicized. And I kind of wish they were the ones that I know about are like $1,400 and you got to travel to us. Like, oh man.
Yeah. And you have to get your own hotel and you have to bring your own food and you have to do all of this. I would say that my favorite camps were ones like that we did in Washington and then the ones that we've just kind of done on our own. And then when I know you still haven't been to Florida yet, but like stuff like that. And when I move, I'm probably going to set up something either in my garage or I've been looking at gyms out there.
Heck yeah.
And like I'm starting to like kind of stock some of the stuff. And the next time I go out, I'll drop in and it doesn't look like there's too much weightlifting, but I can hopefully change that.
Yeah. I mean, you have a pretty good gym pretty close to you, correct? It's the West Kits gym, yeah?
That's about an hour and a half away.
Oh, okay. So that's more of a destination. Like, hey, I'm going here on a Friday.
Yeah, that would be, something like that. I would look at it more like what I look at SoCal weightlifting, like when I want to go up there for that extra little push. Except for if I go to Wes's gym, I will be the little pond, little guppy in the big pond.
Yeah, there's some pretty big lifters there from what you've told me. So,
yeah.
Well, that's cool. So let's transition a little bit into food. Have you cooked anything fun lately?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad I did that. Let's hear it.
So I was thinking about it and I'm like, my kids are idiots when it comes to food. Like I look at what they claim to be cooking and I'm like, you're not cooking macaroni and cheese. You're just boiling it and mixing it together. Like I know that's basically what it is, but if I told you make macaroni and cheese from scratch and you're not getting a box, like go to the store and buy the ingredients and make it, they can't do it.
Right.
So today I was like, all right, we're gonna go real basic. We're gonna make like berry French toast with homemade whipped cream. So went and got a big loaf of bread because we didn't have anything at the house. Got a big thing of heavy whipping cream. Showed my son how to make whipped cream. It was like the easiest thing, and he's like, "Oh, that's it." I'm like, "That's it."
And then I showed
my daughter, I'm like, "Now we're gonna make the French toast." And then we had about we bought a half gallon of whipping cream, heavy whipping cream, and then I said, "Okay, now we're gonna make butter with the rest of it." And like, "How do you do that?" And I poured it into the KitchenAid, and I turned it on. And I said, "We'll know when it's done."
Yep, exactly.
And they just learned like a whole bunch of stuff. And then I told my wife today that I want to start making them as part of like their chores of life on Sundays. We're going to tell them next week is going to be rough because it's my son's birthday and he's having his friend birthday on Saturday and family birthday on Sunday. So I don't know if it'll happen, but we're going to give them a recipe that they have to go to the store, buy all the ingredients, come home and make it.
Nice. So, man, that it warms my heart to hear you're doing that.
Like we did last weekend, we made some cowboy caviar.
Okay.
You ever done that?
I've never done that. No.
It's basically like 2 or 3 different types of beans, corn, and then you're making salsa that's not spicy.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's
Okay.
freaking delicious. Like
Oh,
I
sounds
even
great.
I cut the corn off the cob, like it was great.
Solid.
Um, Nothing complicated. It's just a dip. But I'm like, that's something that we could say, hey, you're gonna make this. Go to the store and buy everything you need.
Man, I freaking love that. I love it. I love it so much because you're empowering your kids to learn how to take care of themselves first and foremost, but you're also showing them some cool tricks that and showing them like, hey, maybe one of them might, see a path in food or, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, how many people do you know that worked in a restaurant to get themselves through college, or worked in a
Yeah.
restaurant at the early in their 20s? Like, there's a reason for restaurant work. Not everybody goes past your 20s in restaurant work, but like at the same point, man, that's really neat. And I really, um, you know, when it comes to my kids are still a little young, but I do get them in the kitchen and they still do stuff. But I look forward to the years where I can just be like, here are the keys to the car. Go get the ingredients, and I want you to make it. Because that's
Yeah.
that's cool. I don't know.
Yeah. I figure
Uh,
it's
go
like
ahead.
everyone needs to know how to do something. And
Yeah,
if
the
all you're
basics
doing
of
is
life.
boiling water and mixing packages, that's not something.
No, it is
Honestly,
not.
I'd rather you just go get something that you can either microwave or just go get fast food.
Or just go get right.
I mean, I
Uh,
have to believe that fast food would be healthier than boxed mac and cheese.
well, given that we don't know what that powder is, I'm going to agree with you on that. They call it cheese powder, but hey,
Yeah.
we know that there's very little cheese in that powder.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I really, I'm really, I like that you did that, and I hope that they did too. I hope they had fun with it.
Yeah, my son's kind of that he's turning 15 this week and he's kind of that like really like he's not going to listen to this. He's a little dickhead right now. And
No, you
I was
don't
like,
say.
"Hey, you're gonna make this." He's like, "I don't even like French toast." I'm like, "I don't care. Everyone loves French toast, and you're gonna make it."
Yeah, French toast is a basic. We need to know how to make that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, it was one of the first things I learned how to make, and I always would like, long, long, long before I got married, I would try to impress girls with that, and I don't know if I ever did or not, but apparently not enough. Um, so I did a fun thing where I went to Costco this weekend. I bought, the 3-pack of chicken thighs
Mhm.
and a bottle of Yoshida's gourmet sauce. You
Okay.
familiar with that?
Nope. But I'll look
So
it up.
it's in
Oh, is
the
that the teriyaki?
yeah, it's like the teriyaki. It's the
Okay.
teriyaki
Yeah.
sauce. They call
Gotcha.
it gourmet sauce, but it's basically just a thick teriyaki sauce.
Yeah.
Um,
I can see the
so
logo.
yeah, exactly. So I just took those, put it all in a Ziploc bag, a whole bottle of that stuff. I didn't use the whole bottle. I left a little for afterwards. Um, let it marinate overnight. Grilled it all on the grill, made some rice, threw it on rice. And I didn't have any mac salad, but I was going to do that. But like, I also like doing all 3 of those packets made about 4 dinners worth of food. So
Nice.
we made a bunch of rice. I'm not a much of a food prepper, and I got to be honest about that. Like, I don't like prep a big amount of food on a Sunday, but like this was kind of cool because I love this food. It's chicken and it's rice, and it's flavored. It
Yeah.
actually has some flavor. And it's not just bare ass chicken and rice. Um, you can get like a coleslaw, throw it on top. You can get macaroni cheese or mac salad and throw it on top. You could do like scallions and a bunch of like different types of like shredded carrots and stuff in there. But to reheat everything, I threw rice in the pan with a bunch of butter, toss, cut up the chicken, threw it in there, toss some more, a little bit of sauce, and then served it with a salad. And it was like the easiest meal ever. And it had a whole bunch of flavor. Now, again, I would probably do some things different. Maybe throw some powdered ginger in there, maybe a little bit of buttermilk for the marinade. But it's a super easy thing to do, and I think it costs, let's see, $11 for the chicken, $7.99 for the container, and I made 4 dinners out of $18. Like that would easily feed a family of 4. So a little trick that I've always known about that I haven't done in a very long time, and it was turned out to be all right. I liked it. And I can
That's
still
great.
grill in October. Who knew?
I did
So,
for lunch today. I went to Trader Joe's to get some pizza dough,
oh, nice.
and the lady there, I always hate it when this lady was nice, but
Yeah.
I hate the stupid comments. Oh, you making pizza tonight? I'm like,
Every time.
just bought 2 pizza doughs, pepperoni, cheese. I'm like, yeah.
Nope.
What gave it away? But this lady just said, she just said to me, "So how do you do your pizza?" And I go, "I have an Oni pizza oven." She goes, "I want to get one of those someday, but right now I just do cast iron." And I was like, "Oh, I've never done cast iron." And so I quick looked it up, and I'm like, "I can do this." So
Oh,
I
yeah.
did my first cast iron pizza today, and it was
Oh,
great. I mean,
nice.
my wife loved it. I dropped a freaking giant cube of butter in there and some garlic, so that was underneath the. It was good.
That's fantastic. I've done it once or twice. Did it turn out, was it like thick bread, or did you roll it up the sides?
So the way that I read that you're supposed to is you have it took forever. Like
Yeah.
I realistically won't do it again just because of how long it took to do. It took an hour. Like between from when I started when I turned the oven on to when I pulled it out, it was an hour.
Yeah.
Because the thing has to heat up to 500 degrees with the pan inside.
Mhm.
And I just got it. I had the lid to the cast iron pan that I have, and I just rolled it out to that size. And then once I pulled the pan out, then I just slid it in there and kind of didn't get burned. And it turned out just like the pan pizza from like Pizza Hut, like that same kind of like garlicky, oily, buttery bread.
Nice.
But it wasn't like a deep dish.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we know how I feel about deep dish. So
Yeah, I know.
okay. No, that's cool. I like that. That's a good move. I kind of, especially as we come into like colder months, I like that thicker, like almost focaccia style crust. And that's what
Mhm.
you kind of get out of that. And like you said, it's butter. It's a lot of butter. And I don't know if you were able to like look at the bottom of it, but you get to see these holes, like these cavities, and like kind of like this fry bread surface on it. And it's my best part. It's like the best part about it, because it's
It
like,
did have a different crunch to it.
yeah, exactly, a different crunch.
But I mean,
And
it was gone in like 8 minutes.
oh,
Like,
okay. Well, what I was going to say is it lasts. So, like the next day, you can reheat it and it comes right back to
okay.
life. But if you don't have any left over, that's also a good sign too.
I did make a mistake that turned out to not be that big of a mistake. Uh, I put the sauce on and then I started putting the pepperoni on. I'm like, wrong order. So then I put cheese on. I just put more pepperoni on.
I was going to say, just layer it again, man.
Yep.
That's all that works, dude. I like it. Well, great show. We're hitting 43 minutes. Everybody had some, looked like we had some new listeners come pop on for a second, which was cool.
Nice.
Cornell, great to be on the mic, man. Good talking to you, and hope you have a good night, and we'll talk to everybody later.
Alrighty.
Adios.
Bye.